We like to catch up on what's happening with Professor Jeff Stein, who always has something interesting to teach us when it comes to our history here in the great state of Iowa with our Iowa Almanac. Good morning, Professor.
Good morning, ladies. Good to talk with you both. When we talk on this segment of the program, sometimes we talk about wonderful accomplishments, we talk about happy things, and unfortunately, sometimes we have to pay note of things that have been tragic, and this is one of those stories today. This date, September 5th, back in 1982, was a Sunday, and early in that morning before dawn, 12-year-old John David Gosh left his home to deliver the Des Moines Sunday Register. He took the family dog along with him and met up with other newspaper carriers at the paper drop sites, then started on his paper route. But he never finished that route. His parents, John and Noreen Gosh, started getting phone calls from customers complaining their paper wasn't delivered. So they went out to check. They found his wagon full of newspapers just 2 blocks from their home. But Johnny Gosh was nowhere to be found. Police believe Gosh was kidnapped, but other than one neighbor who saw Johnny talking with a stocky man in a car with Nebraska license plates, they had few leads on the disappearance. The case, of course, drew national attention as Gosh's photo was one of the very first to be printed on milk cartons, along with those of other missing children. Now, what happened to Johnny Gosh remains unknown. His mother says Johnny came to her home 15 years later with another man. She believes he was abducted and used in a teenage prostitution ring, and as a result is living under an assumed identity today in fear for his life. Less than 2 years later, another Register paper boy, Eugene Martin, disappeared under similar circumstances. The case remains the subject of speculation and dispute, but there is no dispute that West Des Moines paperboy Johnny Gosh disappeared on this date in 1982. And we talk about the dangers of leaving kids alone nowadays. That was really the first point where in Iowa we started worrying about such things, and it changed the old school of get a paper route and earn some money. Well, we just don't do that as much anymore for reasons like this.
Yeah, and as a parent, I can't even imagine.
It's still one of those stories you hear the details and your hair just stands up on end, especially with recent news that we've had here around the state, unfortunately. But it is a part of our history and a huge news item that, as you said, went nationally and really created, I remember back in the day when, unfortunately, you would see your milk carton and there'd be an image on it, and this is kind of where that all got started.
And it's a shame you have to worry about that in your neighborhoods, but it
still
also
to this
led
day.
to some safety, being more aware. And
absolutely.
Good safety.
If anything, maybe we can learn about this and make sure that we are more aware of our surroundings and what we do every single day, and just maybe hug our kids a little tighter every single day. Professor, people want to go down memory lane because there's been films, documentaries, so much done about this story, as there is a big question mark at the end of it. Where can they go to learn more today?
IowaAlmanac.com has all the details. We also preview every morning's conversation on Twitter and Instagram at Iowa Almanac. 36 years ago, hard to believe. And who started putting pictures on milk cartons? The A.E. Dairy, based in Des Moines, and it became a national thing.
That's right.
Yeah. They were the first, right?
They were the very first.
Wow.
And then it just took off from there, where people said, it's one thing to have posters at various places, but we tend to ignore that sort of thing because it just becomes wallpaper. But when you go to the dairy case, you would see those pictures. And in an age before social media where everything is everywhere, it was a wonderful way to get the word out about some of these missing children across the country.
Yeah, every time you opened up your fridge, it just kind of gave you a little reminder.
There was, yeah.
Thank you so much, Professor. Always informing us every day of something that happened as part of our history here in the great state of Iowa. We will see you again tomorrow morning.
Have a great day.
And I can promise it's a much happier story tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, we'll see you tomorrow morning.